Looking for some quality betting picks? Well, download the Discord app and join our group Bet Masters Lounge where you can get positive EV and arbitrage along with best bets and parlays. Download Discord now, send us an invite, and get in on the action. Time for our fast break mini episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast and tell someone else to join. A win is a win. And you can now hear us on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and of course Spotify. Don't forget, somewhere on your listening device, go ahead and click the bell for the necessary notifications. ESPN removed Bronny James from its 2024 NBA mock draft. And that was instead of projecting him to the 25 pick. And it prompted LeBron to go into dad mode. We'll start there. And here's a little bit of what he said. The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. Now, he wrote that on X, Twitter X, whatever it's called, and he went on to say, if y'all don't know, he doesn't care what the mock draft says. He just works. It's earned, not given. He continued on to say, and to all other kids out there striving to be great, just keep your head down, blinders on, and keep grinding. These mock drafts don't matter at all. I promise you, only the work matters. Let's talk real basketball, people. Now, the 6'4" 19-year-old was cleared to return in late November after and is averaging 5.5 points on 37.1% shooting, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, and that's about through 19 games. Now he's averaging about 20 minutes per games and has made 6 starts for the 11-16 Trojans. Now it is good to note that Bronny suffered cardiac arrest 5 months ago, or 6, somewhere around there. And it's just being able to run a full court of basketball, coming back from that type of heart attack and congenital heart defect is not easy. And so for him to have these stats and make 6 starts coming off of that condition 5 to 6 months afterwards is huge. And some may say, well, he only started in 6 of 27 games. And are those the stats of a potential NBA player? And to that, I would say, please. However, let's continue. Body-wise, I agree. He is a force to be reckoned with. He is a mini version of his father. If you look at his talent-wise, overall, he has all the intangibles of an NBA athlete. Really good shot, can pass, and is freakishly athletic. And I'll further preface that with some of your current NBA players today. You have Giannis's brother, and let's just throw in Jordan Poole, a former champion, who forgot how to play basketball. And you can literally name other NBA players that are in the NBA that pretty much don't have a game and aren't worth a damn. If you don't think Bronny is ahead of his time in a few years, you're really not paying attention to basketball. Now, I'm going to back that up with saying this. If you agree with the Giannis's brother and the Poole narrative comparison that I just put out there, where it basically pulled a Ben Simmons and quit when Golden State was forced to trade him. I mean, I may be wrong. I've been there before, but I just have a hard time seeing Bronny making a leap without some improvement in his game, as he should. People need to remember he's a freshman. He's a freshman. He's a kid. He's 19. And half of his year was stopped due to a health condition. He's got the start that makes sense given what he's been through. And so going forward, he's got to start cracking that USC starting lineup. And I don't think another year of college would do him a disservice. Think about it. Okay. Some people will say, well, Tiffany Bronny is the son of the top 30, one of the top 30 basketball players of the 21st century, and his kids has his genetics, and he's definitely has a shot of going to the NBA, so on and so on and so on. And then, okay, but that's not Bronny's story. You're putting LeBron's story on Bronny. Now, no one said Bronny didn't want to play basketball. No one said Bronny didn't want to go to the NBA. Just a few days ago, Rich Paul said that Bronny would be interested in teams that would be interested in him, not in the draft order or the draft pick or the draft number that he could be picked. Only teams who would be interested in him. So for him to say that on behalf of Bronny, okay, and we know that Rich Paul isn't going to lie. He's not going to tell a lie. So we assume that Bronny said that. Well, that doesn't mean that he's not projecting his thoughts towards the NBA, but it may not be right now. It may not be 24 draft. And if it is, God bless him. And if it's not, God bless him. I'm going to continue. Think about the stats that I just put out there for Bronny. If you know basketball, then you know that Jimmy Butler had the exact same stats his freshman year. Go back, fact check me. If I'm wrong, come back in the comments and tell me. Jimmy Buckets had the exact same stat line during his freshman year. Where is he at now? We have to stop turning people's legacies into their fathers or their parents and such. Now, getting back to LeBron, if you go back into LeBron's history and the things that he said about his son, okay, he yelled a couple of months back, January. He said, "My son can play for the Lakers right now, easy, easy." And then a month later, you're saying, just let him be a kid. Sometimes we have to stop, back up off of our kids, and do exactly what you're saying to other kids that you're giving them advice to do for your own. And I mean that to say, LeBron, it's okay to be a dad. You jumped in dad mode, and that's okay. But you also have to remember the things that you say before that as well. A lot of times LeBron gets caught up in the words, the wording that he chooses, or sometimes it can be for attention, whichever side of the scale you want to lean heavier on. That's just his makeup. Recently, he scored 40,000 points. No one to ever do it. Hats off to you. He's a monster. He's a machine on the court. Nobody can never take away one of the greatest players of all time. Cannot take that title away from him at all. And he then, after that, goes on to say, everyone wanted to see me lose. Everyone wanted to see me lose. That's not true. and there was no reason to interject that. So now you're taking away a moment to overshadow that with a narrative of negativity that, for the most part, is untrue. Now, if you're trying to say that Cleveland wanted to see you fail when you went to Miami, well, okay, fans are fans are fans. But to put it out there, everyone wanted to see you fail in the NBA. That's not true. LeBron as a shadow GM is how I feel about what he's doing with the Bronny situation. And for as much the Lakers had entertained, quote unquote, the notion of making Bronny a rookie on the squad. But if you think about LeBron as a shadow GM, and that hasn't worked out too well in the past, well, he wanted Russell Westbrook, and by then an aging stat machine. And to make it happen, the Lakers gave up some serviceable young talent. That was a huge mistake, which any casual observer of the NBA could have predicted. Westbrook never meshed with his teammates, and his ultimate departure was addition by subtraction for the Lakers. Players play, coaches coach, owners own. LeBron, it's time to simply just quiet the noise. You have to stop tweeting and having press conference comments about how elite your son is and putting him in a category of an NBA player, and then retract that later when he's put in a category of an NBA player and he's then removed. It's one thing here that we always remember, and it's one simple word: it's time. And what I mean is, you cannot get the gift of time back. Give that young man time.